So, are you in business and you are a giver? You love what you do, you want to share it with the world, and it almost feels like that desire is sort of counterculture to actually being successful? This is why I want to share this book I just read today called The Go-Giver. This book really returns us back to the spirit of giving. A lot of business training out there teaches us how to take, how to be takers in the world. I want to make money. I'm going to figure out what will sell. And then I'm going to figure out how to make you buy it so that I make money. And as much as that might work for some people, it doesn't work for a lot of us. And especially those who really actually love what they do. They have a gift, they have a passion, and we really want to share this with the world. And as I've been self-employed for almost 20 years or more actually, and that model has just never clicked with me, which I think is why this book really spoke to me. So I'd like to share with you some big points that I personally am taking away and really applying to my business. And obviously I'm not going to, give you a book report on the whole book because I highly recommend reading it. It's written as a story. And so I literally sat down for coffee this morning and I read the whole thing. It's so easy to read. It's so digestible. And here I am now sharing this with you. It's just a beautiful book. So one of the first things I loved about this book was you have this hero and he is living in this dog-eat-dog world and believes that everyone's ahead of him and he's never going to be able to get ahead, but he wants to desperately. And then, of course, he meets his mentor. And the mentor says this: most of us have grown up seeing the world as a place of limitation rather than a place of inexhaustible treasures, a world of competition rather than one of co-creation. This, I feel, is one of the most important things we can shift in our business mind, that we actually understand that this world really is abundant. And we have a lot of training that makes us believe in scarcity, that we have to make sure everybody wants our product, that everybody's listening and all that kind of thing, that there's not enough people out there that really want what we want, and maybe we have to water down what we really want to share so that everybody likes it. But the reality is, the world is filled with inexhaustible treasures. And that changes everything in our whole mind about our business. So I just love that. The second one is all about feeling like our customer is wasting our time. When you're self-employed, one of the greatest challenges is that every time you correspond with someone, you're not getting paid, And sometimes it does feel like people think you're like a secretary that's always getting paid by the hour, so you can spend hours and hours and hours answering emails, doing all these things. And after a few years of that, you can start to feel kind of resentful that people are wasting your time. So in this story, at one point, the hero, he's not really sure he really wants to do everything the mentor is asking him to do. And he says, well, I just, I don't want to waste your time. And here's what the mentor says: Joe, no offense, but you don't have the power to waste my time. Only I can do that. And truthfully, it's a vice I gave up a long time ago. Oh. That is the most powerful statement for a self-employed person, to know that we are driving our own boat. We decide how we're going to spend our time. We start to actually understand how to spend not just our time in business, but our time in life. When our job is also our passion, to understand that everything we do is us living. Do I want to be doing that? Do I want to be doing that? Do I want to correspond in this way? Do I want to interact with these people? It's up to us. This is a teaching that is going to roll in my consciousness for a little while, that only we have the power to waste our time. I love that. And so I just want to talk briefly about the 5 laws that they talk about in this book. The first one is the law of value. And this is all about, are you giving more value than you seem to be receiving? And I say it like that. It's not exactly how they say it, but I'm just sort of sharing how I perceive it. Because very often we actually do want to give. We want to share. If you're like me, I love talking. I love sharing. I love reading something and then sharing it with other people, like this video. I love this. And the truth is, my hope is that this video is of more value to you than anything that you might give to me, right? Like, what is something worth that actually helps us in our life? Like this book, I bought it off Kindle for, I don't know, $15. But the value I got from it, I can't even tell you. So they gave me so much more value than that $15 I spent, you know? And that's something really beautiful in us because it opens our heart to give even more, which makes us happy, which causes us to dig deep and share all of who we are, which is a really lovely way to live. The next is the law of compensation. And literally, they call it, your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. This again is such an expansive statement. You know, it's not about, you don't have to charge $1 million. You can just simply say, how can I reach the most people with something I so believe in? Again, such an expansive concept. I love that. The next is called the law of influence, which is beautifully described in the book. But there was one little point that really touched me that they talked about. And they talked about the importance of networking. And of course, you know, we think, oh, so like customers, clients, that kind of thing. But he said, no, that you want to create an amazing network of people who believe in you, even if they never buy a single thing from you. That you have affected them in some way, that you have a connection with them on some kind of soul level, even if you've never met them and they aren't officially customers in a financial way. This is something that me personally really sets my heart at ease, because I've been self-employed officially since 2009. My husband and I had a business before that, but it was in 2009 that I really branched out, offering courses and teaching and collecting an email list and setting out newsletters. Of course, they were paper by mail then, and so a lot of those people have continued with me along the years, and they're still on my email list. Do they purchase anything today? No, not necessarily. Or maybe they do, or maybe they come and go. But there's a lot of teaching out there that says your email list is your power selling place. You should always be selling. You should always, you know, some do say, make sure you add some value in there so that you're always selling, you know, so you can also sell. But there's always this pressure that your email list is about sales. And my email list isn't really about sales. Some of it is. Some of it, you know, people come to me because they normally end up on my email list because they've bought a course or something. But after that, they often just stay on my email list. And I have to say that I've definitely spent some time succumbing to that always be selling. But I don't really like that, because I really feel like my email list, these are the people that have continued to follow me for decades. They are my network, whether they buy anything from me at all. And so that one little piece, which actually isn't the point of the law of influence, but that's the point that really touched me, and I hope it affects you also, that it helps you find that network of people, not always focusing on the ones that are necessarily sending money for something. People will buy what you're sharing, but that's not maybe that's not even the whole heart of your network. Just a beautiful point. They talk about the law of authenticity, which we basically understand, that we really need to share our true self. Don't fall to the gurus that say you need to look like this, act like this, create videos like this, whatever. Don't do that. It is our authenticity. And I actually even think that in the land of AI today, our authenticity will be more and more important. So for example, I use AI every so often when I want to create a great title for something, or maybe I need a bullet list and a description of a talk I've given. I find that very hard because sometimes I'm just too close to the topic to be able to create a good description. So I'll feed my talk into an AI transcriber like Otter, and then I'll ask it, can you create a bullet list of the major points and maybe write a little summary about it? And it's great because they have that, distance from the topic that they can do that. So for a little while, I was really playing in the AI world. And it's an interesting thing because AI uses a very specific kind of language that isn't really human. It flows really beautifully, the grammar's right, but there's something weird about it that doesn't quite sound human. So a couple weeks ago, I was reading one of the books I've written called Divine Union of the Masculine Feminine, and I have a course that's running about it, and every week I make a little video just to introduce the topic that we're talking about that week. So I was thumbing through my own book, reading it, and as I was reading it, I was like, wow, you can really tell that this book was written by a human. And it was never run through an AI checker or anything like that. It was edited by me, by an editor, by proofreaders, all of which were human. And there was something about the book that still felt human. So there is really something about still being our authentic self. And as AI continues to expand on the internet, I think our authentic self is even more and more important. And the last law that they talk about is the law of receptivity. And it's okay to charge what something's worth. It's okay to charge what your time is worth. It's okay for it to feel good to receive this. And I don't know whether a lot of us save the world types. I don't know what our past lives were like or what it was that makes us feel like it's not okay to charge enough. And I don't mean charge exorbitant amounts. I just mean charge enough that actually really feels good, that it does feel like a real win-win, that everybody really gets wonderful value out of our time together. So the law of receptivity is really powerful. So these are my little notes about this book. I do highly recommend it. I'm not connected with this book or anything, but it has really been a lovely, refreshing feeling in my heart going forward in my own business. So I really wanted to share that with you. I hope you have a wonderful day.